In 1953, a group of scientists gathered inside a quiet government building. They weren't working on weapons. They weren't studying diseases. Instead, they were asking a question that sounded like something from science fiction. Can the human mind be controlled? If a government could learn how to manipulate thoughts, erase memories, or force someone to reveal secrets, it would become one of the most powerful weapons in history. So the Central Intelligence Agency launched a secret research program. Its name was Project MKUltra. And over the next 2 decades, the experiments would cross ethical lines that shocked the world. Some participants volunteered, but many had no idea they were being used as test subjects. The Cold War panic. To understand why MKUltra began, you have to look at the fear that dominated the early Cold War. During the 1950s, American intelligence believed enemy governments were developing psychological weapons. Reports from prisoners returning from the Korean War suggested something strange. Some soldiers appeared to have been mentally manipulated during captivity. Interrogators worried that communist nations had discovered techniques capable of breaking a person's will. The idea terrified intelligence officials. If an enemy could control a soldier's thoughts, they could turn spies into traitors or prisoners into propaganda tools. So the CIA decided they needed to understand the human mind before anyone else did. The man behind the experiments. The person chosen to lead MKUltra was a quiet chemist working for the CIA. His name was Sidney Gottlieb. At first glance, Gottlieb seemed like an unlikely architect of such a controversial program. He spoke softly, walked with a limp, and lived a relatively modest life. But inside the agency, he had an unusual reputation. He was fascinated by chemicals that could alter consciousness. Under his leadership, MKUltra quickly expanded into dozens of secret research projects. Universities, hospitals, prisons, and private laboratories became part of the network. Many researchers didn't even realize their funding came from the CIA. The drug that changed the program. Among the substances being studied, one stood out. A psychedelic compound known as LSD. At the time, LSD was still relatively unknown. Early reports suggested it could dramatically alter perception, emotions, and thought patterns. To intelligence officials, this seemed like a potential breakthrough. If a drug could disrupt the mind, perhaps it could also open it to suggestion. So MKUltra researchers began conducting experiments. Some volunteers agreed to participate, but many others were unknowingly given LSD in drinks, food, or injections. The reactions were unpredictable. Some people experienced intense hallucinations. Others fell into states of paranoia or emotional breakdown. Researchers carefully documented everything. To them, each reaction was another clue in the search for mind control. Operation Midnight Climax. By the early 1960s, the experiments had taken an even stranger turn. The CIA created secret apartments in cities like San Francisco. Inside these locations, agents ran a covert operation called Operation Midnight Climax. Women working for the program would approach men in bars and invite them back to the apartment. Once inside, the guests were unknowingly given LSD. Hidden cameras recorded their behavior. From behind one-way mirrors, CIA observers watched everything unfold. The goal was to study how people reacted to drugs in situations involving temptation, vulnerability, and stress. It was a bizarre mixture of espionage, psychology, and manipulation. And most of the subjects had absolutely no idea they were part of a government experiment. Psychological manipulation. Chemical experiments were only one piece of MKUltra. Researchers also explored extreme psychological techniques. Subjects were exposed to long periods without sleep, complete sensory isolation, repeated psychological pressure, and powerful electroshock therapy. One psychiatrist connected to the program became particularly controversial. His name was Donald Ewan Cameron. Cameron believed the human personality could be erased and rebuilt. To test this idea, he placed patients in prolonged states of sedation. While unconscious, recordings played messages over and over again. The process was called psychic driving. The goal was to break down a person's existing thoughts and replace them with new patterns. But the results were devastating. Some patients lost large portions of their memory. Others struggled with lifelong psychological damage. A mysterious death. One event connected to MKUltra would become one of its darkest chapters. In 1953, a scientist working with the U.S. Army attended a meeting with CIA researchers. His name was Frank Olson. During the meeting, Olson was secretly given LSD. Within days, his mental state deteriorated. He became paranoid and deeply distressed. 9 days later, Olson fell from the window of a hotel in New York City. Authorities ruled the death a suicide. But decades later, new evidence raised serious doubts. Some investigators believed Olson had been pushed. Others suggested he had become a liability because of what he knew. Even today, the full story remains unclear. Destroying the evidence. As the 1970s approached, public attitudes toward government secrecy were changing. Scandals and political tensions were already damaging trust in federal institutions. Inside the CIA, officials realized MKUltra could become a massive controversy. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms made a drastic decision. He ordered nearly all MKUltra records destroyed. Boxes of files were shredded or burned. The goal was simple: erase the evidence before anyone could investigate. But not everything disappeared. A small collection of financial documents survived in a separate archive. Those records would eventually expose the program. Destroying the evidence. As the 1970s approached, public attitudes toward government secrecy were changing. Scandals and political tensions were already damaging trust in federal institutions. Inside the CIA, officials realized MKUltra could become a massive controversy. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms made a drastic decision. He ordered nearly all MKUltra records destroyed. Boxes of files were shredded or burned. The goal was simple: erase the evidence before anyone could investigate. But not everything disappeared. A small collection of financial documents survived in a separate archive. Those records would eventually expose the program. The investigation. 2 years later, the U.S. government launched an inquiry into intelligence abuses. The investigation became known as the Church Committee investigation. During hearings, fragments of MKUltra finally came to light. Documents revealed that the CIA had funded hundreds of secret experiments. Many were conducted without informed consent. Universities, hospitals, and research centers had unknowingly become part of a covert network. When the public learned about the program, the reaction was immediate: shock, anger, and deep mistrust toward intelligence agencies. Final thought. Today, more than half a century later, Project MKUltra remains one of the most disturbing chapters in intelligence history. Thousands of documents were destroyed. Many participants never spoke about their involvement, and countless details may never be fully uncovered. What we know is this: for nearly 20 years, a secret program attempted to unlock a terrifying possibility: the ability to control the human mind. And the most unsettling part is wondering how much of the story is still hidden. If you found this story disturbing, you're not alone. But MKUltra isn't the only secret experiment ever conducted. Some programs were even stranger. and some may still be classified today. Subscribe if you want to uncover more hidden stories the world was never supposed to know.